Do you think you know everything about GI Joe? Well, let's take a look at some female characters I'm sure you've forgotten about. G'day, or welcome back to Frostbite's GI Joe Repro. So, I've done this list up just as a priority, just to actually familiarize myself with characters that I'd forgotten about. And going through this list, there was pretty much all of them. I'd just forgotten about all of these female characters. So I thought, I'm a pretty kind guy, so I thought, why not share it with you? And that way we can all learn together. Okay, so we'll start off with Dr. Sidney Biggles Jones. Biggles Jones was the scientist who developed the experimental weapon known as the railgun prototype. It was actually the first of two. Despite a young age, Biggles Jones was one of the leading scientists in her field. She and the railgun were captured by Cobra from her laboratory in New Jersey. Cobra Commander offered her a place in Cobra, along with Scarlet, who was pretending given up on the Joe team. She then participated in a mission with Cobra to destroy the second railgun prototype. And that was being guarded by the Joe team. She continued to work for Cobra for some time, developing other versions of the railgun. And she was with Cobra during their involvement with the Transformer known as Megatron. Biggles Jones even helped repair Megatron and provided him with a new body. And you can see on the slide, that's in the issue from the original Joe series towards the end. It's 142. There were some really nice covers there with the whole Transformers series. Anyway, soon after, Cobra and Megatron joined forces against the Joes in the town of Millville. And during that fight, Megatron decided it could use Biggles Jones' scientific knowledge. She eventually surrendered herself to Megatron in order to save the Joes, Cobra, and the entire town from Megatron stomping the living crap out of it. Megatron and the scientists headed for space in the spacecraft known as the Ark. So if you're a Transformers fan, you know what the Ark is. But Biggles Jones was saved due to the efforts of the Joes and the Transformers, the Autobots. So the file card for this says that the doctor earned her first PhD in physics from MIT, followed shortly by a second PhD in electrical engineering from Caltech. She was sought after by the government for employment and opted to accept corporate funding to work on an undisclosed project at a research facility in New Jersey. She published multiple breakthrough articles in hypervelocity propulsion technology and drew the attention of Cobra Commander. He saw the potential to modify the technology in an electromagnetic cannon known as a railgun. And with his plan in place, he sends night creepers to retrieve the gifted scientist. Dr. Sidney Biggles Jones follows an agenda set in place by her employers and only agrees to work for Cobra to utilize their resources. When Cobra Commander offers to trade the railgun for Cybertronian technology, she is ordered to incorporate the cannon into Megatron's new tank-based alternate mode. But she didn't know, though, that another Decepticon called Ratbat had taken interest in the railgun, and she'll need to make an ally to survive the transaction. So on our slide there, you can see on the right-hand side, we've got the episode. You can see Dr. Jones up in the top right-hand corner in Megatron's hand as he's about to stomp Scarlet and Cobra Commander. Got one of the aerial bots in the background. In the middle, you can see her, what she looked like in the original appearance. And on the left, this was actually a toy set. So it featured her and Scarlet and Ratbat, I think. But yeah, there was a figure made of her. So Go check that out. It looked pretty cool from all the pictures that I saw. So yeah, that's Dr. Sydney Biggles Jones. Next, we've got Dr. Adele Burkhart. Her first appearance was in the issue of GI Joe #1, believe it or not, where she was in the storyline Operation Lady Doomsday. Dr. Burkhart, a nuclear physicist, formerly of the Doomsday Project, considered a traitor by many for her outspoken critique of both the project and the US government, is kidnapped by the terrorist organization Cobra while being transported to testify before Congress. Cobra threatens to kill her if her rescue is attempted, but the government cannot afford to let Cobra extract the secrets that she knows. G.I. Joe is sent to their stronghold on a small Caribbean island to rescue her. So they eventually get to the fort where she's getting holed, and they find out that Cobra has slaughtered the island's civilian population. So that's pretty full on. Snake Eyes and Scarlet confront Cobra Commander and rescue Dr. Burkhart just as the rest of the team arrives at the fort. Burkhart explains that she was the bait for a trap and that the fort is wired to explode. The team escapes with moments to spare in a Cobra helicopter. Burkhart, in this rescue, being rescued by the Joes, which is the military, thanks her rescuers and realizes that there's people in the military that do care. In the confusion, Cobra Commander and the Baroness escape to their true headquarters, foreshadowing more trouble for the Joes. She also appeared in issue 38, and the storyline for that was in Springfield, Billy, which is Cobra Commander's son, is going through an inquest for his assassination attempt of his father. Although Billy insists that he worked alone, Destro is convinced that he had adult help, but who? The Baroness and Major Blood are becoming quite nervous that Billy will turn them in. At the pit, Duke informs Stalker, Ripcord, Roadblock, and Gung Ho that they have a mission to perform. They have to go to the country of Sierra Gordo and rescue Dr. Adele Burkhart. She's the woman that they actually saved in issue 1, and she's been captured by guerrilla rebels this time. And she went on to appear in numerous other G.I. Joe issues. So on our slide there, you can see issue number 38 in the middle. You can see a bit of a custom on the right-hand side of her. And on the left, it's from her original appearance. So, yeah. Next up, we've got Magda. Magda the Bearback Rider was first mentioned in number 68, which was called The 10th Letter. Her first appearance, though, is in 106, which is on the left-hand side of the slide. You can see Major Blood with Snake Eyes in his sights. It's a prolific looking cover, just a great cover. And that issue was called I Lift My Lamp. Magda became a political rebel who disappeared after speaking out against the Barovian government. In issue number 108, which you can see on the right-hand side, which once again, just an amazing cover. So in that issue, which is Apparent Conclusions, Magda is on the cover of a DC newspaper, and Magda later assists Lady J, and her and Hawk fight through Barovia. She's in issue number 129, which is called Standoff. She also appeared in 128, Winds of Change. Cobra Vipers eventually recapture Magda and her husband, which is called the White Clown. The president of Barovia, Metz, agreed to give them a fair trial. Instead, Cobra Commander said, "Nah, we having none of that." And he personally executed Magda and the White Clown. And that was in issue 145, which was called Threads and Resolutions. So, yeah, female character that's been in numerous issues, but eventually was killed. Okay, next up, Candy Apple. I know Aaron or Ronnie Trickshot, if he's watching this, I'm pretty sure he's a bit of a fan of Candy Apple. Candy's first appearance was in GI Joe number 33, and the plot line for that was Billy's assassination attempt failing, um, and Billy is revealed to be Cobra Commander's son, and that was revealed by Destro. Meanwhile, the Joes reopen the pit, their HQ, and many of the Joes find themselves reassigned to desk jobs. Most notably in this episode, it's where Ripcord first meets Candy, because they were a bit of a couple. Candy's last appearance was in G.I. Joe number 43, where the plot line was Wade Collins confronting Stalker and Snake Eyes about leaving him behind in Vietnam. He was a POW and then returned to the US to join up with Cobra. At the same time, the Soft Master discovers who really killed the Hard Master. As he is escaping from Springfield, he causes a car accident that includes Candy and Billy. The Soft Master stops to help when Scrap Iron fires a missile at them. The Soft Master sacrifices himself to save Billy and Candy, and then Scrap Iron kills Candy and apparently Billy. So 33 is where she come into Joe Land, and 43 is where she left. And you can see both of those issues up on the top right of the slide. 33 is there first, and 43, that amazing cover, is there as well. And then down here, number 45. So she was the plot line for that. And that issue was called In Search of Candy. And it's where Snake Eyes has sent a message about who killed the Hardmaster. And he finds Storm Shadow and gives him the news that it was Zartan. Ripcord has infiltrated Cobra Island and is trying to find his girlfriend, Candy. Zartan and Ripcord fight with Zartan. Zartan and Ripcord fight, and Zartan come out of that being the winner. And he also takes on Ripcord's identity after that. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow arrive on Cobra Island. And most famously, and this is something I'd just totally forgotten about, Candy's alternate personality in the comics was Bongo the Balloon Bear, R.I.P. Bongo. Down on that bottom cover, which is number 45, you can see Zartan about to take Ripcord out. So yeah, that's Candy Apple. Next up, we've got Barbara Larkin. Senator Barbara Larkin is an influential, beloved United States senator responsible for political maneuvering that culminated in the realization of a technological dream, which was Power Station Alpha. She hopes to usher in a new age of energy independence. I found this quick description of her, and it just matches her part in the comics. And you note on the slide there, she's bit of a good time girl. The description was, she's cute. She wants you to call her Barbara, and she may take off her shirt, but she should be careful of what friends she makes. So Barbara was a main character in the GI Joe Transformers series of comics. You can see number 1 up on the right-hand corner or top corner of the slide. And the plot line for that was G.I. Joe and the Autobots joining forces to stop the Decepticons and Cobra from destroying the world. You know, it's that old chestnut. The story featured, as you can see up on the cover, story featured Bumblebee just getting blown apart and getting rebuilt as Goldbug. So the Joes, the Autobots, and Cobra, after being betrayed by the Decepticons, must join forces to stop the Decepticons from activating an energy drill device to suck up energy from the Earth's core, which would destroy the planet in the process. Barbara was sadly assassinated during this comic series. So, you know, that's sad. Like, she looked like a nice chick, and yeah. Hawk was obviously a big fan. So that's Barbara Larkin. Next up, we've got Lola. And this chick, just more I read about her, she just looked like a a bit of a kick-ass character. Lola is a woman that Grunt met at Georgia Tech when he was there. She'd served 4 years in the US Army as a helicopter mechanic for the Air Cavalry. Her service paid for a college education. Grunt and Lola also were part of the group Roadblock assembled against General Matthias' witch hunt towards the GI Joe team. She appeared in number 56, which is on the left-hand side of the slide, right above me, and also number 78, which you can see on the right-hand side, and you can see Zola on the front cover there on the left-hand side of that cover. And then after those 2 issues, she also appeared in the Devil's Due series, having a child with Grunt. So that's Lola. Next up, we've got Dr. Cassandra Knox, and she looks like a Cobra person. She also sort of reminded me a bit of Dazzler from, or even a mix between Dazzler and White Queen from X-Men. But who is she? She's their chief scientist, Cobra's chief scientist. She redesigned the bats and helped Cobra Commander gain control over Serpentor. In issue 153, which you can see up on the right-hand side of the slide there, Dr. Knox created a new deadlier type of bat and charged it with hunting Scarlet down. And coatings of Scarlet's brainwaves allowing the bat to track her down. So Dr. Knox released the bat from Cobra Transport Chopper in Salt Lake City, thought as to terminate Scarlet with extreme prejudice. Knox herself monitored the bat's activities. During the battle, the bat fell into a cement mixer, which caused Dr. Knox to lose its monitoring signal. The transport chopper began to flow lower, trying to recover the signal. Scarlet attacked the chopper with a rivet gun, so the chopper began to shoot her. Scarlet escaped the chopper only to find the bat still functioning. Scarlet used a garbage truck to crush the bat. Even though the furious Knox wanted to kill Scarlet with the bare hands, the arrival of a squad of GI Joe Razorblade helicopters dissuaded her from doing it, and she escaped. You can see in that issue 153, the cover of that, it's one of those covers at the end where there's sort of a bit of weirdness with the artistry of it, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite. But yeah, that's Dr. Knox. Next up, you got to love this. This is Professor Groob. And if you've heard of her at all, I'll be fascinated. Let me know in the comments if you, in fact, have heard of Professor Groob. She was a character in 2 of the Paint and Marker books that were put out by Golden. So specifically, we saw her appear in 1 issue with Muskrat and Shockwave, and another issue with Hit and Run, which you can see pictured there. Professor Groob is a scientist working to develop a propulsion system for the Crusader so the Joes can build a moon base. She's working out of a G.I. Joe base in the desert, protected by Rock and Roll and his team. Destro, Darklon, and their Iron Grenadier forces attack and manage to capture Professor Groob. The Joes manage to attack the Cobra base and free her. You can see on the right-hand side some grenadiers attacking there, and she's telling them to take your filthy hands off me, you stupid creeps. I didn't even know these coloring books existed before doing this research, so that might be something I might go and have a look for. Yeah, that's Professor Groob. Next up, we've got Shi Wingfield. So once she was just any woman from the street. She was taken in by Vance Wingfield's rhetorics about the actions of the United States government. She became Vance's other half and has taken a place in his organization called Strike First as one of his most trusted aides. So all of this happened in issue number 4, which you can see on the right-hand side of the slide. And that was called Operation Wingfield. The plot line was centered around this, So while her husband Vance is willing to take extreme measures in the training of Strike First recruits, Shari is his opposite, showing concern for their welfare. However, she could never take action because of Vance's dominant personality. Even when he has put in motion a plan to instigate World War III, Shari would still not take action. The GI Joe team is able to put a stop to this mad plan. He activates a remote timer on another bomb in their camp, and Shari realizes just how truly insane her husband has become. Before he can shoot one of the recruits' wives for insubordination, she shoots him in the back and then directs the Joes to the location of the bomb. So one of the characters, it's that trope, right? Bad character turns good. Yeah, that's Shari. So last up, we've got a character called Shooter. Now, I'm going to admit, I didn't actually know this character existed. And there's probably good reason for that is I haven't really read anything past the initial run of Real American Hero. So as I understand it, she was featured after that initial run. But the reason, because I know you're sitting there asking, but Lenny, like, this is a Real American Hero list. She was actually in the first issue. So you can see down the bottom right-hand side of this slide. So you can see down here that they're going through the participants of the team. So we've got up the top here, Hawk, Grand Slam, Short Fuse, Flash, Grunt, Breaker, Rock and Roll. And then down the bottom, Zap, Scarlet, Stealer, Clutch, Stalker, Snake Eyes. And then we can't see a face because the hand is in the way, but the nameplate says Shooter. So that's just an awesome detail that I completely missed. So anyway, details for her. Shooter is the code name for the GI Joe team's original sniper. Her real name is Jodie Craig, and she's a sergeant in the U.S. Army. So aside from the 13 characters released of toys, so we got all those as toys. She was in there. You can see Shooter. She got her name from the editor-in-chief of Marvel at the time, which was Jim Shooter. Shooter's expertise with large range sniper rifles is the result of her obsession with accuracy and competition from a long family tradition. Another trope incoming. Here we go. Her father was a marksman instructor at the first U.S. sniper school in Camp Perry, Ohio, and he was a 3-time Olympic medalist. And of course, it's the trope. Following her father's footsteps, she is also a 3-time gold medal winner. She then joined the army to prove herself to her father and her peers who believed that she could never become a top military marksman. Her file card, which, up on this top left or above me, her file card says that Shooter could pick a tick off a deer at 300 yards, but pulling the trigger is the next to last thing that she does. She might take days to move into a shooting position and then remain motionless in the hide. After acquiring a target, she must judge wind deflection and bullet drop before exercising precise breathing control prior to the trigger break. The last thing that she does is the hardest, and that is getting away. Sadly, Shooter was killed in action during the events of GI Joe Declassified, and that took place in the first issue of that series. So I left this one to last just because of the fascinating thing that she was in number 1. She's been a character since the start of GI Joe. She was their original sniper. So, move aside Lola, we should have gotten Shooter first. And how fascinating would that have been to have gotten a female sniper at the start of the Joe figure run? Just would have loved it. Would have been great. she's got a very good backstory as well. You know, everyone appreciates the daughter trying to prove to her dad that she can be just as good. So yeah, that's why I left it till last. I just didn't know anything about her, and it was all very fascinating. But yeah, thank you very much for watching my list today. If you're not currently subscribed to my channel, hit that sub button. If you enjoyed the content today, hit the like button, but also leave me a comment, please. I'd be interested to know if this list has helped you. You know, has it taught you at least about one character? For me, all of these that I researched, I learned stuff. So it was actually a really good exercise for me. But thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.